My mom died 2 weeks ago, and it was safe to say that I was devastated. I had been out for sunblock as the sun scorched with a vengeance. It was impossible to move outside without your flesh burning. I got home and found her in the bath, under the water. The police said it was an accident or that she'd killed herself, but I remember seeing the windows and blinds open, which didn't make any sense. When she would take a bath to cool down and avoid the blistering sun, she'd always close the blinds. But the police weren't going to listen to a 14-year-old, let alone one who spoke with an American accent and an awkward stutter. I'd been homeschooled in a small town in Mexico. It's been hard for me growing up here as I couldn't speak the language well. And while I'd pick up bits here and there, my mom was orthographic, meaning she was scared of going outside. At least that's what she told me. She had kept me inside and isolated for the longest time, and it wasn't until her death that I found out why. When she died, the local police came and took her body away. I actually stayed the night alone for the first time ever at our small apartment in the hills. The police said I was safer there than at their precinct where they had no room, nor anyone to look after me from the revolving door of bad guys continually making it their home. That night was terrible. I missed her so bad. They told me to gather any belongings I wanted to take, so I packed all my stuff into a suitcase and then went through the drawers of my mom's room. Within was a letter addressed to me, sealed by her lipstick. In the morning, it wasn't the Mexican police who came back, but a man from the American consulate. He said he was going to take me home. When he saw I was confused, he told me that my mom had done a very, very bad thing 10 years ago and fled to America with me. She was wanted by the FBI for my own kidnapping. He could see from my face that I was shocked, but then proceeded, as he must, to deliver even more shocking news, which was that my dad was alive. He asked if I was aware, and I said I wasn't. My mom had always told me he died in a plane crash and that we were alone in the world. I had so many questions and did his best to answer the little he knew on the way to the airport. It wasn't a direct flight home, and they tied a thick package of documents around my neck, which were to track and guide my progress. As I got on each plane, I met different flight escorts who each tore off a piece of paper and gave me advice about my progress, about my dad as well. One stewardess said it was a good thing my mom died, as she was evil, and now, and only now, would I meet my dad. On the last leg of flight, I looked out the window. Sorry, guys, I was having issues with my mic. On the last leg of flight, I looked out my window and saw the fields of Ohio below me as I met at the gate by someone from the American Social Service Agency. She was late, but not as late as my dad. Apparently, while they had reached him initially to tell him about my discovery, they had lost communication with him. I stayed 2 days in a group home that wasn't very pleasant. Both the staff and the other kids were nasty. At some point, I was reading my mother's letter when the tallest of them tried to take it from me. He was mean and intimidated and bullied the others. I jammed my fist so hard in his jaw that he was dizzy and fell to the ground. At dinner, no one said anything, as they were all happy I'd stood up to him. The group home was a lot of drama. as a sharp kitchen knife went missing. Out of 6 kids, they accused 4 of us, including me, of taking it. The only quiet was in the backyard where there was a small pond. As I saw my reflection, I thought about what my dad would look like. I knew he wouldn't be Tom Cruise-ish, as I looked pretty weird myself. I figured he might have the same white eyes and big pointy ears as me. His mom had small, cute eyes and little ears, and I obviously got them from someone. When I got the phone call that my dad was finally on his way over, I was petrified. My nerves were so intense, probably because I was about to be with a stranger who I was to call my dad. I watched from the window as he stepped out of his truck. He was a taller, stronger looking version of me and walked with a limp. When I went out to the doorway to greet him, he smiled, then happily gave me a hug. He was strong and smelled of cigarettes. On the way to his house, he asked me about Mexico and how I'd liked living there. He asked me a few questions about my mom. Then he told me he was happy I was found. When he got there, it was late, and I said I was tired. He lived alone, so I didn't have a room for me. I was to have the couch. He gave me a pillow and turned on the TV. It was cool watching it, as Mom seldom let me. He sat with me for a while, and I felt his eyes lingering on me occasionally. I'd look back, but he wouldn't look away and instead continued to stare. Nor did he smile. I'd imagine someone who was happy to see their son would smile. I felt there was something else going on in his head. Truth is, he wasn't good at hiding that. I got up and went to the bathroom. It was small, and there were spider webs on the ceiling. The wood had rotted on one of the walls, and I could see through some holes as I sat on the toilet. I could see him continually looking toward me. I turned on the tap for the noise of water to mask the opening of my mom's letter. My eyes lingered on the main details. John, if you ever get this, then something bad may have happened to me. I pray it was an accident or by natural cause, but if something suspicious happened, I need you to know this. Your father is alive. I can't express how bad a man he is. I took you to Mexico when you were 5 because I knew he would kill me and you, like he had done to others before. It wasn't a matter of if, of why, but of when. We lived in isolation, so he couldn't track us down. He held me prisoner for 4 years, during which time I had you. You were the only thing that made my life worth living, and I love you immensely. Know that if he ever finds out where you live, he will kill you. He is pure evil. I love you, my sweet, dear son, and will always be there in spirit with you. Stay strong. As I glanced back up the wall, his eyes were pressed against it, looking in at me. You okay in there? He asked. I said I was, and after a few, he left for his room. The sunburn on his shoulders should have fully confirmed my immediate suspicion that he had found us in Mexico and killed Mom. But deep down, part of me wanted none of this to be true. If he was truly evil as he was supposed to be, I'd be completely alone. When I heard him snore, I scoured through his coat and came across this morning's airline ticket from Mexico. That night I went to sleep, holding the sharp knife I stole from the group home under my pillow. We're up now, and he's cooking me breakfast. Then he said he'd show me around out back. The knife hasn't left my side, and I will be using it today. It's not a matter of if, just a matter of when.